So how did you go from, you got back, and I'm sure there were some things that you did, and then how did you get introduced to VFW after, did you join right away, or kind of how did you get involved with the VFW?
So I knew about the VFW from my two grandfathers, both World War II veterans. So I knew about the VFW from kind of that angle. Didn't really know a ton about it. But when I got back, I did join right away down in Fort Bragg. I just joined as a member at large because I was like, I'm moving back to Wisconsin. But when I got back, I didn't actually get involved until I think it was like June or July of 2009.
Okay.
So it wasn't right away that I got involved. I was a member, but I wasn't in a post to actually do things. So I transferred my membership over to my post in Waukesha, and then I kind of got introduced to it. And it was, luckily those guys were really good. They were like, hey, you're brand new. You don't know anything about the VFW. We need you to just kind of sit in the audience and learn. And I was like, okay. Because not typically, but I've seen a lot of times where a new member shows up and it's like, oh, you look like he'd be a good post commander. And they didn't do that with me. They were like, we need you to just kind of sit back and learn. And then if you want to step up, let us know. And I did that for the entire first year I was in the VFW. I just kind of watched, learned. I went to some events that they were doing. I helped out in some of the community stuff that they were doing as I kind of eased my way into it. And then after a year, I was like, well, you know what? I think I can step up into a more of a leadership role and help out. And then I became like the junior vice commander of our post, which is like your third in line. And a couple years later, I became the post commander. But I kind of learned my way up through. I was lucky in the fact that I had people who would kind of help me along the way as I had questions. They mentored and guided me. They didn't like, oh, that's an idea. Well, that's just dumb. We're not going to do it. They would listen. There were times where they'd be like, well, sounds like a really good idea, but we really don't know if we want to do it at this point. And I'd be like, okay, well, all right. So I kind of push it off and bring it back up again a little bit later. But it was a process because I wanted to make sure that when I started doing stuff with them, that I could make the time to do it. Because it is a challenge. I was, at the time, when I was back in a job, I was still in the reserves, married, had a brand new baby girl, and just doing other, I made the time I could for it, and it helped me in the long run, kind of being around those people. It's your brothers and sisters.
Those guys got some crazy stories too. Some of those Vietnam guys.
Oh, you know what? Everybody, they're like, oh, the Vietnam guys, they're older, they don't want to change it. You hear a lot of that now, but it's like, those are the people who were part of the VFW leadership. Those are the people that are, they were that interim between World War II, Korea, Vietnam, to the GWAT veterans. Because there wasn't a whole lot going on between Vietnam until really like Bosnia a little bit. I mean, Desert Storm was what, 30 days?